Call us to order. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the recently renovated, beautiful Memorial Branch Library. Richard, I told Richard, how does he like his new library?
What can I say?
It's
awesome.
Richard. So, very good. So we'll begin our meeting 4:39 p.m. Tuesday, March 22nd. Once again, welcome everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us. We'll look to move along here and begin our business. We'll start customarily with our roll call. Sydney?
Today is March 22nd, 2023. The time is 4:39 p.m. And those in attendance are Jean Brady. Here. Jean Brady is participating virtually. Joanne Harris.
Present.
Josie Martinez. Present. Andrea Sanchez Muniz is absent. Norma Montalvo.
Present.
Fernando Cardenas. Present. Esprit Kaur.
Mute just for you.
I'm here.
Esprit Kaur is participating virtually. Marcy Ince.
Present. Or not present.
Marcy Ince is participating virtually. Beth Graham.
Here.
Judy Cruz. Here. And Paul Stahl.
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
We have more than that. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Great to see everybody. Great to see you even virtually. We'll follow next with our customary item for a few moments of silent meditation, gather our thoughts, bring our awareness into the room where we are, the business we have to do. We'll be focused and mindful and considerate of the items before us today. Let's take a few moments before we begin. Very good. We'll move on to our first item of the day, approval of the minutes. Those have been already distributed. And we'll accept motions, discussions on the minutes.
I move that we accept the minutes.
We have a motion by Joanne. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second is Beth. Are there any questions or discussion on the minutes? Okay. Sydney, if you could take us through a roll call, please. Roll call vote.
Jean Brady.
Agree.
Joanne Harris.
Yay.
Josie Martinez.
Aye.
Andrea Sanchez Muniz is absent. Norma Montalvo.
Aye.
Fernando Cardenas.
Aye.
Esprit Kaur.
Aye.
Marcy Ince.
Aye.
Beth Graham.
Aye.
Judy Cruz. Aye. Paul Stahl.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I will mention just briefly, Discreet is a little bit hoarse, starting to lose her voice, so Discreet, please don't feel the need to say aye or yay or nay any louder than is necessary. Please protect your voice, and we hope you're feeling better and doing well. We'll move on to public comments. Are there any citizens signed up to speak?
We have one public comment. Mr. Garcia.
Okay. Welcome, Mr. Garcia.
Greetings, good afternoon, board members, Library Director, Mr. Salazar, members of the community, thank you very much for coming this afternoon. First of all, I want to say welcome to our new library. Thank you. We've the community is very, very pleased with it, and we're very, very happy to be back at our library. But thank you. Also, what makes our library very, very unique is that as you come in, you always notice Adam, one of the staff members, sitting in front, and he's always greeting people. You know, I don't care if you're 8 or 88 or anywhere in between, he always takes the time to greet you. I haven't found that experience in other public libraries. You walk in, you might as well be the invisible man. But that's my own bias regarding our library, okay? But anyway, I'm also not only a member of the Memorial Heights Neighborhood Association, I'm also a friend of the library. And I want to take this time and opportunity to thank Ms. Norma Montalvo. She's been meeting with us. She met with us sometime last month. We had a meeting here at the library, and she met with us. Thank you, Ms. Montalvo. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much for the meeting. One thing that we're lacking right now is, this has been our meeting room, and we've had meetings here before, neighborhood associations meeting. I wish we had our own podium back. It was almost very similar to this one. This one looks just fine for us. You know what I mean? But that's just but we do need a podium here for our meetings. As a matter of fact, we're going to be having some more meetings here at the library. Also, the community is also interested in who the new library manager is going to be. We're looking for someone that has the same characteristics as maybe like Jimmy Jimenez in the Pazan Library. He's worked with us. But my vote is for the current interim library manager that we have here. She's been here with us for several years now. We want someone that's going to work side by side with us. Whether it be the National Night Out or it be the oyster bake that's coming up, someone that's out there toiling with us, working with us, supporting us. And like I say, my vote is our current interim library manager. It doesn't necessarily mean she has to be bilingual, those are plus, but not necessarily someone that will just support us and work with us. With that, I just want to thank you very much and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes our public comments. We'll move on to item number 2, report from the library chair. Just a reminder that today's meeting is being live streamed. I haven't really had to say this in the past, but I feel like I need to because I've been monitoring some other board meetings recently, and I noticed that this is done. But please silence your cell phones if you haven't done so already. As I say that, I realize I don't think we've ever had a cell phone go off in our meeting before. But, we are so glad to be here. We are going to be postponing agenda item number 17, which is a review and consider approval of the proposed design for the 2022 bond for the phase 2 of the Las Palmas Branch Library. So we'll be postponing that item. As a reminder, everybody, congratulations, pretty much everyone, for having your financial disclosure reports done. And there's one outstanding. And Fernanda, just let us know if you have trouble with that. That needs to be done here in the next few days. So, and I'm not calling you out because it's normally me. I'm even one of the last ones to do it. So please don't
So
take
there was
this.
issue with the password, and the city
Oh,
clerk
yeah.
has reset it like 4 times, and it's still not going through.
Gotcha. So, yeah, just continue to let us know how we can support that. And once you get in there, you know it goes pretty fast. And a reminder, complete your Municipal Leadership Institute training. If anyone has questions on that, please reach out. And just last quick item, I'm really pleased I was able to attend the Forest Hills branch reopening last Saturday. It was a wonderful event, very well attended, even with the so-so weather. The non-spring break weather, still very well attended. Just as usual, staff did an amazing job. The whole event went very well. Our new councilwoman, my new councilwoman, Rosa Castro, was there, and that was great for her to be able to participate. She had some very nice words to share with the community. So that was all wonderful. We'll move on to reports from the trustees. I feel like starting at my right, Judy. Anything that you want to share?
I'm so excited to be here at this library, and like Mr. Garcia said, I believe that gentleman greeted me as I walked in. So yes, you're right. I mean, this library is beautiful. I'm so glad that you guys got it back to the community. I wasn't able to go to Forest Hills. Forest Heights is where my kids go to. Forest Hills on this weekend, but I have to stop by. So I stopped by a couple days ago. It's such a beautiful library. I'm so happy that community has that library back. After all of that time waiting, I mean, it's just so beautiful. Congratulations to the staff for getting that library opened, and it just like those books were so shiny and just sucked me in, and I just wanted to like grab them all and just check them all out. So good job on getting that library open.
I attended a meeting of the Public Relations and Advocacy Committee that I'm sure Jean is going to tell us about later on. And I also was lucky enough to be at Forest Hills for the grand reopening. And I was so impressed with the ranch, with the turnout, with the work that the staff did. It was a great event. And I'd just like to mention that Paul told a really neat story about his mom. So if you have a chance after the meeting, ask him about it because it was very cool.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's rare for me to take a point of personal privilege like that, and I decided to take the risk, so.
Perfectly appropriate.
Great. Joy?
Oh, okay. I was fortunate that I was able to come here for the memorial opening, which was very, very nice. And it was well attended, and we had drizzle. Rain, you know, and it was very nice, and I just loved the library, and I loved everything about it and things like that. I also went to the Carver's fourth annual African American Author Book Festival that was on that Saturday. And then I went back to the Carver on the Sunday because they had a poet, Hurd was his last name. And he does things with the Twig bookstore, and that's where all these things are. What he does is reading. So it was a very diverse group of people, and it was full at the Carver. I was very impressed. And I did watch the live stream of Las Palmas community meeting. And I went to the Schaefer Library because we have a neighborhood, I don't know, it's like a message type thing from the neighborhood, and the Schaefer Library was on there. Somebody named, I think Christina, she had it on, and where you could just click on it and say that you were coming, and then they reminded me of a day before the event, and then it had the whole calendar for the whole neighborhood of events at the Schaefer Library, and it was very nice. And thank God I went early and did my little sand project because I had to get up from my table because it was a whole family that came in. It was the father with his mother, his wife, and his 2 children. And it was just a real joyous type thing. I was happy to move because they had, not enough space. The other thing I did is that I went back to the Schaefer Library for the San Antonio Public Library Foundation meeting. And I went to the Forest Hill reopening, which was very nice and everything. I was really glad to talk to some of the people at the Forest Hill, the customers or whatever you want to call them. What do you call them?
Patrons.
Patrons, okay. Citizens, that's the And it was very nice to see how many people were there from Leon Valley that really enjoyed that. Said they utilized it when they would have to go and check out things and go to a different spot. But he said he goes all the time and everything. And then I went for the dedication yesterday for the trainer room at the Macretis Library. So that was fun.
Glad to make
In the
that.
neighborhood.
Not able to make that, so I'm so glad that you were able to. Thank you, Joy.
Yes, so the opening for the Memorial Branch Library was fantastic. our outcome. The community came out. It was chilly. It was drizzly. The ceremony went off without a hitch. We had state city representatives. We had on author, Dr. Carmen Tafoya. Families just celebrating once we entered into the library, and everyone was just so pleased with the layout, the improvements, the children's room, the teen room, the gifts that were offered to the Memorial Branch Library from our state representative. Yes, it was really an amazing turnout. It was fantastic. And then I did attend the Las Palmas meeting in regards to their closures, and really excited to see what the improvements are going to be done there. That's the one closest to where I live, so I'm thrilled about that one.
Great. Wonderful, thank you. I see you're jumping right in the deep end of already meeting with the association.
That's
and
right.
friends and
Yes.
making sure they know
So I
that,
got to see Adam's there.
making sure they know that you're their
Of
voice,
course.
their representative here. So that's
I am
wonderful.
their friend.
This month's calendar was chock full of so many exciting things, and I was so pleased to be able to make it to Forest Hills, to be opening here at Memorial. Yesterday's the naming of the meeting room at McCree's. I got to see new faces, met new people, saw old friends. You mentioned Dr. Tafoya. I had this big old thing planned to tell her, because she's just like one of my heroes, and I walk up to her and basically say hi, and that's about it. So just so excited to be a part of these activities, and looking forward to next month's activities.
And so I had the privilege of coming to the Memorial Branch grand opening, which was wonderful, very well attended. So happy that the whole community came out, and that there was a lot of representation. And I also had the privilege of actually renting out this space and trying it out for another organization, and they fell in love with the meeting space. And they were the people that attended had not been to the Memorial Library in a long time, so they were happy to see all the renovations and everything that had done. So great job, and it's a great meeting space for anybody that would like to use it.
Marcy, is there anything you'd like to share?
Yes. Well, I started off on the 23rd of going to the Brook Hollow. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. So we went to the Brook Hollow Back Appreciation Center, and it was so nice. John Persiner's Awesome Courage, they were very excited about that. I think we could turn out. Brook Hollow friends are really good turnout, and I think they have maybe 54 members. They really presented. I'm sure. I think we'll go back to hear me. I'm kind of something funny about it. I also then went to the course of what has said. I'm going to echo it. The Memorial Branch grand opening. It was a grand affair. I thought with the marching band and the mariachis, the whole thing was just it felt like a major celebration. We could feel the excitement. Gorgeous library. So happy it's finally done, and people are enjoying it. Then I went to the common book sale they had, and then I went to another book. I went to the Brook Hollow Friends book sale, and I also attended the Forest Hills Library with many of you, and it was, again, last time it rains, it seems like it may have a function. So maybe we have more functions because we could use more rain, but anyway, that was so fun to see that finally opened up, and I think that was so something happy, everyone was so happy about it, so I was glad to take part in that. Let me think about anything else. I think that's about it.
Great.
I think that's about it.
Thank you, Marcy. Discreet, I'm going to skip over you if that's okay, unless you have anything to share. So I'll move to Jean. Jean, Jean, is there anything that you
Well,
want to say?
I'm thinking about you all. I'm not there, but I think about you when I see all the activities.
We certainly miss you. Like I told you, I feel you there. I knew you were there celebrating with us at the Forest Hills. I didn't know you would be able to be there with us in person. But, great. All right, thank you so much, Jean. Anything else? Okay. Thanks, everyone. We'll move on to item number 4, San Antonio Public Library Director's Report for February.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to start off by introducing a new member of the library team. His name is Nicholas Delota. He's here. He's our new executive secretary. He started on March 16.
I thought you did a recorder. I'm like, boy, good thing Dean's not here in person because then he might get in trouble. But,
So he brings a wealth of experience, a multitude of experiences, and so I want to share some of that with you. So by way of background, Nicholas is originally from San Antonio. He returned back to San Antonio in 2022 after completing his international MBA degree at the EAE Business School in Barcelona, Spain. He previously served as the executive administrator at My Education Solutions and the executive assistant to the CEO at Methodist Hospital. Additional work history includes 3 years in South Korea in ESL language marketing and 2 years as project coordinator for CSETD, created in New York City. He received his bachelor's degree in government in English from the University of Texas in Austin. So he's well accomplished. We're happy to have him on our team. So next month he will take on the duty of providing support for the board meeting. At this time, I would like to recognize and thank Cindy Young for serving as interim executive secretary. She did a fantastic job as interim secretary, and we're very appreciative of helping us out while we have this vacancy, and we're happy to have Nicholas on board. I do have a few items I'd like to report on. You have the bags in front of you. Those are the gifts and medals. If you need some more, please contact Jessica. You had previously approved the library director to close the Brook Hollow Branch Library to replace the HVAC system. We're ready to do that. So Brook Hollow will close on April 24th for approximately 12 weeks so that we can install the new HVAC system. During the closure, I want to ensure the board and the public that we will be able to support voting during the closure. We have made plans for that, so I wanted to let you know of that. All of you mentioned the Memorial Branch Library, as well as the Forest Hills Branch Library, the reopening ceremonies. I want to take this opportunity to thank Jessica and her communications team for organizing a wonderful celebration for those two branch libraries. Everybody had fun, the community was excited, and so again, I want to acknowledge the library team. As you know, Memorial Branch Library opened on February 25th. Also on that day, the Carver Friends sponsored the African American Book Festival, as Ms. Harris reported. I did bring the program. The Carver Friends group were able to gather 45 authors, many from other cities of the country, to offer this book festival to the community. I have this program that I'd like to share with you. I'll pass it around. And I wanted to again acknowledge the Carver Friends for their support of the Carver Branch Library and what they do for the community. The Las Palmas Branch Library community meeting was very successful. We were able to obtain feedback regarding the phase 2 of the renovation of the Las Palmas Branch Library. We will be bringing to the board. We had it on today's agenda, but I have requested that we postpone. We will be bringing it, the plan to bring it back to the board in April for your review and approval for the design of phase 2 of the Las Palmas Branch Library. I would like to remind the board, April 15th is Book Festival. The Book Festival come again to the Central Library and the Southwest School of Art under UTSA. And of course, as some of you reported, on April 1st, we will reopen fully, well, with one exception, Texana, the Central Library. So we invite you all for another great ceremony at the Central Library, April 1st at 10 a.m. Most of you mentioned in the previous meeting room dedication, so I'll pass on that. And lastly, I have 3 items. Well, I'd like to thank the Memorial Amigos for the refreshments today as well. And then I would like to invite Jessica to report on 3 items. One, to provide an update on the strategic plan. The next item is to provide an update also on the our partnership with the Friends of the San Antonio Public Library, the assessment that we're undertaking. And then a recent development, Senate Bill 1601, and she will elaborate on that. So Jessica, please.
Good afternoon, Library Trustees. I do start this afternoon with some sad news to share with you. On March 10th, Clark Swanson passed away after a battle with cancer. Clark was our lead coordinator for our strategic plan. He was Orange Boy, the company that we consulted with, and he did pass away. The funeral was Monday, and his team is on our thoughts and prayers as they're working through the significant loss. We have also worked with Orange Boy with our community needs assessment, so we had a very strong relationship with Clark and his partner Sandy Swanson, as well as many members of the team of the Orange Boy group. We also have our data analytics through Orange Boy, so the library, San Antonio Public Library, has long relationship with this group. In his 26 years of leading Orange Boy, Clark definitely created a strong foundation. So with his passing is a great loss to the organization and the library community as a whole. We feel that the project has a strong foundation to continue. So we are not at this point in any way concerned about our project. Our strategic plan work groups at the staff level continue to meet. They're meeting every other week, and I've attended several of those meetings, so we're continuing to work. Several members of the Orange Boy team have stepped up to fill in for the loss of Clark, so we are continuing on our way, and we're still on track for the strategic plan. But I did want to share the news with you since Clark had come to the library previously in the board to deliver presentations. We thought you should know about his passing. Continuing on, the future of the partnership with the Friends of the San Antonio Public Library and continues. Our consultant will be in town this weekend, and we'll meet with the Friends at their at their board meeting this Sunday, which is taking place at the Westfall Branch Library. It will be a very intense meeting. The Friends will have their business meeting to begin, and then a focus group will take place afterwards, which will include all the members of the Friends board, as well as we've invited all the leads for all of the branch support groups, so that we make sure that everybody has an opportunity to provide feedback and input for this focus group. In addition, the consultant, Martin Gomez, has also started and is almost done with having individual conversations, aside from the focus group, with members of the Friends of the Library branch support groups. So that work continues. Sunday will be a very, I think it'll be a good meeting. We're expecting a good turnout. I'm the RSVP phone number, so I'm getting lots of calls, so that's a good sign. Following that, the steering committee for this project, which consists of the board chair, vice chair, the 2 trustees who are the liaisons, Josie and Marcy, and then the members of the Friends Executive Board will be meeting. They are the steering committee for this project. They will be meeting on March 27th at noon for a report from our consultants. So we are looking forward to that, and it's going to be a good opportunity to not only see the an update, but also be able to quickly understand and hear the results of that focus group that took place the day prior. So we are looking forward to that. And finally, Senate Bill 1607 was filed on March 3rd as part of the 88 legislative session. And this bill specifically targets municipal libraries related and state funding. And I will read just a very brief caption for you to get a sense of what the bill is. It prohibits events at municipal libraries. A municipal library may not receive state funds if the library hosts an event at which a man presenting as a woman or a woman presenting as a man reads a book or a story to a minor for entertainment, and the person being dressed as the opposite gender is the primary component of the entertainment. State funds for the municipal library shall be denied for the fiscal year following the year in which the library hosts an event described by this section. So this is a bill that was just filed. It is going to be heard in a committee meeting tomorrow. It does not have a companion bill in the House side, so that means that it's, the likelihood of it gaining traction it has a harder ladder to climb because there's not a companion bill alongside that kind of helps keep its motion. But there is a committee meeting tomorrow. The City of San Antonio Government Affairs Department is aware of the bill. We, as a library department, have submitted a bill analysis, which essentially opposes this bill. And the opposition of the bill is based on two items. One is that our non-discrimination ordinance as a City of San Antonio, the City Council passed, this violates that ordinance. And also the San Antonio Public Library, as it is established in the charter, section 10 of the charter, is governed by the Library Board of Trustees. And so this bill does challenge local control. And so that's the merit in which we are saying that we would oppose this legislation because it does address local control. And that is something the city is constantly looking at as far as bill analysis and looking at legislation coming in. Regarding funding, our funding from the state is not significant. It's not a huge dollar amount. We're approximately $60,000 this fiscal year from interlibrary loan reimbursement, and we did get an ARPA grant and the tune of $155,000. So we do get funding from the state. Right now, the San Antonio Public Library does not offer programs as described in this bill. Our philosophy is that story time in particular should be provided by professional librarians, and so that because there's a skill to do story time, to pick the book, to be able to walk through the book with a child and host a story time. So we do our philosophy is to essentially have our professional librarians serve as our story time leads. So this bill does not impact the way the San Antonio Public Library does our business. Regardless, it is a local control issue, which is why we have submitted a opposition. And those are the three items, and I'm available if you have any questions.
I have two questions. Does the lack of a companion bill in the House mean anything particular? Would that make it more likely or less likely for this thing to pass, or?
In this legislative session, there's a lot of bills that are targeting certain populations, so it's fair game. I always look at having a companion bill as essentially having support on the other side of the House that helps the bill move forward. So for me, it's telling that it's only in the Senate. But there's so many bills this session that target a certain population that it's just hard to tell if it's going to pick up momentum as part of that movement.
And my other question is it suggested that we should write our representatives to express opposition to this?
Right now, our Government Affairs Department is going to be monitoring the bill as it progresses. There is a hearing tomorrow. They are in touch with Ramiro and myself, city manager, the assistant city manager over Government Affairs, Jeff. We are monitoring it. We are also looking at TLA to see if there's any feedback or any information from that end. Right now, I don't believe that there is a need for that, but we hear you. If there is, definitely call it upon the board for such
Right,
action.
if I may jump in. Yes, not at this time. We will advise the board when it's appropriate for board members on behalf of the Library Board of Trustees. And I say that because as individuals, you may, but not as representatives of the Library Board of Trustees at this point, until we get guidance from City Manager's office.
Right, thank you. What was the bill number?
SB 1601.
I want to, so we need to be clear on that, right? We're not being directed what we can or cannot do as an individual citizen.
Right.
So that's, I want to make sure that is clear.
It's 9.
But we are getting direction that, making statements or writing, in your capacity as a board member, that's what we do. So that's
Right, no, I wouldn't do that anyway. So.
great. Any other questions? Very good update, Jessica. Thank you very much. I'm going to skip around here really quickly in respect to a couple of our friends. I'd like to move to item number 13. John, would you like to give your update?
Certainly.
And not to keep anyone in suspense, we're going to be going into executive session here shortly. And I didn't want to keep
Good afternoon, trustees and guests. As sort of Jessica took a lot of my thunder out of this one. So yes, we do have our board meeting coming up this week, and I say that I know we've had a lot of positive feedback from all of our board members and our friends groups about working with the Martin Gomez and his team. So I think this is it's going to be an intensive session, but I think it's going to be very productive. And the one sad news we have is we are now going to be looking for a new online sales manager. Ileana Poor, who was doing it for the last year, she has gone back to school, so she does not have time to basically work a full-time job selling books online and do schoolwork along with taking care of kids. So if anyone knows someone who wants to take that job on, help us sell more books, that would be greatly appreciated. And that's where we are. Any questions about Friends? Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, John. Amy?
Okay, a lot going on. In the last 2 weeks, Jessica Rivera, who's our Director of Development, has submitted grants for $135,000 for the Learn Center at Las Palmas, an additional $100,000 for Las Palmas teen and children's areas, $28,000 for library programming. So hopefully that starts the first round of grants, and hopefully we'll be successful in obtaining those funds. This week we had the first walkthrough for Katrina Ball to figure out, now that the area of construction has moved, how exactly we'll be able to fit everybody in. And we're getting super excited about that. You should all be seeing our Save the Date cards very soon. Our sub-theme this year is the Monarch Butterfly. We have secured for our Katrine this year Lionel Sosa, and as I've mentioned before, Jamie Kowalski is our Katrina. You should have seen the Foundation annual report in your mailboxes. If you haven't, I have a small stack of those here. I'll actually leave those with someone who's going to stay for the executive session, so you can grab one if you didn't get one in your mailbox. But you're all on our mailing list, so, well, maybe not you because you're new, but most everyone is on the mailing list, and you should have received one. At any time when I say you should have seen something in your mail, if you're not getting that mail, let me know so that I can make sure we have the right address for you in our database. And then we're heavily into planning for our literacy caravan program for next year. I don't know if you all saw last week a citywide report broken down by city council district of reading and math comprehension came out. And so we are going to use that as a guide when we select schools this year. We are expanding from visiting 6 schools once a month to 12 schools because of a grant we received last December. And so what we will be doing, since we have that flexibility to see more schools, is 1 school in each city council district. So each of your districts will be seeing the literacy caravan at one of your elementary schools. And we're going to pick sort of from that bottom of those reading comprehension scores to see if we can help to do something about that. And then we'll still be doing community events and things like that. We will, speaking of book festival that Romero mentioned earlier, the literacy caravan will be out at the book festival. You know, last year Jaspreet came by and she said, "You talk about it all the time, I needed to actually see it." So we'll be along the street outside the children's area, so please come by and visit us. And that is all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
Great. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to speak up and in really quick here while we have a little bit of group. And in typical fashion, Romero completely went over and skipped a detail because he is overly humble as a leader. Worst kept secret of here recently is on Thursday, March 16th, the President of the United States announced that he will appoint San Antonio Public Library Director Romero Soledad to the National Museum of Library Services Board. And you may not even enjoy this, because what he always does, and the reason he's such an exceptional leader, is he credits the staff. At every opportunity available, he credits his staff. But today, and right now, we're crediting him with an amazing achievement. We all hold you in so much esteem. It doesn't matter what level you interact with, whether you're dealing directly with the mayor, whether you're dealing directly with a patron of one of the libraries that you oversee. Everyone is treated with respect. You're the utmost professional. I'm not surprised that it is viewed on a national scale, given the interaction you've had with national boards and with the Library Association, being the former president of the Public Library Association. I wanted to take this moment to make sure that you knew how much we appreciate you, how proud we are of you, and how glad we are that you've chosen San Antonio to shine. So thank you very much. Unless you wanted to say a few words, you don't have to. You're already telling me we got to get into the discussion.
I'm humbled and I thank you, and you're right, I do thank the staff. They're the backbone of the library system. Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, the Board of Trustees of the San Antonio Public Library will begin its executive session pursuant to Government Code 551-071, consultation with attorney, on this 22nd day of March 2023 at 5:22 p.m. We will come back into general session of emergency. Thank you. I'm sorry, Edward, we all good on technology?
Won't say
Okay.
discreet back in.
No worries.
And we're good.
Premature on that.
We're good, sir.
Great. Okay, welcome everybody. We are coming back into open session. So the Board of Trustees of the San Antonio Public Library has completed its executive session on the 22nd day of March, 2023 at 6:37 p.m. The Board of Trustees of the San Antonio Public Library will now resume its open session. No action was taken. So, I'm not checking Facebook. Very good. All right, so we'll come back in. I'm going to go ahead and our next item, I'm going to move to item number 19, agenda item number 19, which is to consider authorizing the library board chair and library director to represent the library board of trustees in any negotiation efforts for a new library services interlocal agreement with Bexar County. This is an action item. Ramiro? Go.
I can't hear anything if you started.
Discreet, can't hear. Discreet, can you hear me now? Discreet.
I can hear you.
Jean, did you hear me speaking a minute ago? 30
Yes,
seconds
I
ago?
did.
Okay. And Discreet, can you hear me now?
She's not.
Okay. Very good.
Yes, I can. All right, that's 15. I haven't got anything from Jessica.
I texted.
While she does that, Jessica sends this message to you. This item is recommended by library staff to facilitate the negotiation of a new interlocal agreement with Bexar County with consideration that there's a sense of urgency given the timeline. Specifically, that the current interlocal agreement is scheduled to expire September 30th of 2023. Additionally, understanding that county government is going through a budget development process and they have to plan accordingly, so it's in the best interest of all parties to facilitate this effort again to establish a new interlocal agreement with Bexar County, designating the board chair and the library director, and giving both of us authority to negotiate on behalf of the library board of trustees who facilitate the process. And to be clear, the board chair can designate, in case he's not available, to participate, for example, in a meeting with appropriate representative that he can designate someone to represent him at that meeting.
So we've got this item in front of us on the screen. Those of you that are remote, virtual.
All I have is the agenda item 19.
Oh, you can read that.
Yeah, I can read that.
But it also is to, for the board to formally acknowledge that the board accepts the city managers.
We discussed it.
Okay.
By having this authority, it covers that because Paul, as board chair,
He's designated. Okay.
the authority to go ahead and send a letter to city management.
So I know we're challenged a little bit here with technology.
Two different action items here?
No.
Or is that one motion?
One motion.
One motion.
Are we back in session?
Yes, we are, Gene. We're back in open session now.
Okay, I didn't get that part.
So I read that the item 19 is consider authorizing the library board chair and the library director to represent the library board of trustees in any negotiation efforts for new library services in the local agreement with Bear County. This is an action item, so
Yes.
we're looking for a motion.
That is my motion. My motion is to authorize the library board chair and library director to represent the library board of trustees in any negotiation efforts for a new library services interlocal agreement with Bear County.
Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
I'll second.
So we have a second from Judy. Any discussion on that? We talked about my work travel schedule. Any flexibility there?
Would you like for me to amend the motion?
Yes. Yes, I think I would.
Okay,
Or does it mean?
Amended.
I will amend it, authorize the library board chair or his designee, his representative, and the library director to represent the library board of trustees
Great. Okay. So
in any negotiation efforts for a new library services interlocal agreement with Bear County.
great. So we do have an amended motion now. And do we have a second on the amended motion?
I'll second.
So we have Judy. Thank you. We have a second on that amended motion. Do we have any discussion? Okay, well, this is. I'll make a few comments, and this is an important step for us to have a clear and unified delegation as we embark upon these discussions. We're all very hopeful that this goes in the direction that's going to improve library services as we're all dedicated to doing, for the larger community. So. We have a motion, we have a second. Are there any questions or other discussion?
Just a reminder, when trustees are voting virtually, they do need to have their camera on.
Very good. So did y'all hear that? For trustees that are virtual, in order for your vote to count, you must have your camera on. And there we go. Great. Okay, Sydney, could you take us through a roll call vote?
Keith Rudy?
Aye.
Joanne Harris?
Aye.
Josie Martinez?
Aye.
Andrea Sanchez Muniz is absent. Norma Montalvo?
Aye.
Fernanda Cardenas? Aye. Esprit Corr?
Aye.
Marcy Ince? Is absent.
Aye. Got it.
Marcy, could you turn your camera on, please?
It's not, it should be on. I think it's my name. It's on.
Is there a layout? Marcy.
I'm on.
Yeah, it does show
I'm
up.
trying.
There we go. You got it. Want your vote to count, Marcy.
Okay.
Perfect.
Aye.
We see you. You're all good. Back to you, Sydney.
Beth Graham?
Aye.
Judy Cruz?
Aye.
Paul Stahl?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you. We'll move back to item number 5. Goodbye, David. Item number 5, budget report for February 2023. Second, Debbie.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm here to provide you a brief update on the library's operating budget. The report starts on page 75 if you're viewing it online, or it's on your green paper located in front of you. As of the end of February, 42% of the fiscal year had elapsed, and we were at 43% spent, including encumbrances, or 40% without them. Same as last month, overall, we're still in line with our spending as of the end of February. This month's report includes the fiscal year 22 carry forward amounts, and those totaled just under $700,000. So you'll see that the second column is now states that it's the revised budget. Also new this month is the calendar year 2023 Friends of the San Antonio Public Libraries pledge of $40,000. I'd like to say thank you publicly for their hard work and continued contributions to the library. That completes my overview, but if y'all have any questions, I'd be glad to take them.
Anybody have any questions on any outlier amounts here? Because Gabby's ready to answer them.
Was that an increase in the Friends pledge?
Yes, yes. I think it was 10,000 last fiscal year, or last calendar year, and they increased it to 40. Guess those online book sales are doing pretty good for them.
Any questions on the budget? I mean, 42% collapsed and 43% spent. Let's make you sleep well at night. That's
Sometimes.
Very accurate. We don't get to know about the sleepless ones. It's not here, right? No, that's just tremendous. Great. I don't have any questions. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move on to item number 6, report from the executive committee. We met on March 14th to set this agenda. Item number 7, a report from the budget committee. And discreet, Kathy's going to take the podium for it.
Okay. So the budget committee did meet earlier this month on March 7th, and later in the agenda there's one action item, which is to do the budget prioritization exercise so you can give the staff input on the board's priorities for the budget development. So that's coming up in just a little bit.
Great, thank you. Item number 8, a report from the facilities committee. Andre is absent, but
good afternoon, board members. Good evening. The Facilities Committee met on March 8th. We did have 2 items that were recommended to come towards the board. One will be brought tonight, and then the other item is being moved till next month. And then there were some project updates. Well, I'll give you a quick brief update. We've got just a couple on here. The Forest Hills Library we talked about earlier. They reopened on March 18th to a wonderful experience. We just got a couple pictures of the computer area and the front work area. If you have a chance to get over there, if you haven't seen it already, it's beautiful, a beautiful facility, so you can check that place out. And then the next one is going to be the Central Library, which we are reopening on April 1st. The ceremony is going to start at 10 a.m. I got a couple of quick pictures for you of the shelving in the children's area. Right now it actually has some books on it, so we're getting much better. And then we've got the children's staff area that we're going to start outfitting that for all the staff members. So we're really excited about opening Central Library back to the public again. So, and we do have the construction report, which is in your packet. And if you have any questions on anything, as Romero did mention, we are closing Brook Hollow on April 24th, and then we did close Las Palmas on Monday of the 20th. Yes, ma'am.
So I saw in the construction report that the parking lot improvement is being evaluated for Yara. When will you have that evaluation?
Yes, we actually just got a purchase order issued to the consultant, so they're going to start working on that. So I'm hoping in the next month or 2 we should have something to start working off of for that. Yes.
Thank you.
anything else? Any other questions? You planning for rain on the 1st?
That's Scott's department.
Cold weather and rain, yes. It seems to help turnout. Thank you all.
Great, thank you. Move on to item number 9, report from the naming committee. And they did not meet during that period. Item number 10, report from the public relations advocacy committee. Jean is Jessica, are you going to give that report?
Jessica.
Yep.
Jessica's doing it.
She's here. Thank you, Jean.
The Public Relations Advocacy Committee met on March 16th, and they discussed items related to the board budget priority setting and advocacy related to that. So as part of the action item later on in the agenda regarding FY24 budget priorities, we will provide additional information in that regard.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Item number 11, a report from the Ad Hoc Board Policy Committee. Right?
Well, I guess I'll mention that the policy committee did meet, which I believe was on the 14th of March. And they considered the privacy and confidentiality policy, which will be coming to you in an upcoming meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Dale. On item 12, the report from the Ad Hoc ILA Committee, we did meet on the 14th, and then we covered this in other areas. Move on to, and we already covered item number 13 and number 14. So item number 15 is a staff report on Memorial Branch Library. Elma, patiently waiting.
Patiently waiting. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, board. I'm Elma, I'm the Public Services Administrator that helps support this lovely and newly renovated facility. I also want to say I'm also the Public Services Administrator over Forest Hills, so I just want to give myself for doing that. If you step out for executive session, which you didn't get to, you might get some jewelry. I'm just doing a little show and tell because when I walked out, the jewelry class was happening in our flexible space, and they shared this with me. They didn't give it to me, it's on loan, but I asked them if I could at least show some of the wonderful things that are happening in the facility. Normally, I would be introducing the branch manager. As some of you may know, Maria Gonzalez retired shortly after the grand opening. In the interim, Christine Deffendahl, our children's librarian, has stepped up to take the role, and she's been doing a wonderful job making sure that everything has been running smoothly. Taking you back to Memorial then just very, very quickly, that's what the front of the facility looked like way back then, 1981, I believe. That is, of course, Memorial now, and I love that vibrant blue that now competes with all of the activity that goes up and down Culebra. Beautiful, beautiful space, and we've been receiving a lot of very positive comments from the citizens who've been coming in. Taking you way back to 3.5 weeks ago. This is our digital sign, and certainly some of you were at the event, which was very well attended. It was cold. We were very excited that Memorial High School lent its JROTC to be part of it because they are our neighbors and we want them to be here and feel at home. And that was right before the marching band showed up as well in order to entertain us as everyone walked into the space. It was a really wonderful day. So 3.5 weeks later, what have we done? It looks like my slide kind of shifted a little bit, but gathering and learning, what's been happening in the space is this, of course, is our Learn Center, and they have been serving the community to see what type of activities would be held in that space right now. Classes to learn English, classes to learn Spanish, and technology classes, computer classes have been offered to see what would be of most interest. Interestingly enough, classes to learn Spanish has been received a lot of support. So those classes are developing right now. And of course, that's Daniel. He says that some of the folks really enjoy the space. They feel like they're in a little castle. So it's really wonderful to say, you know that room that looks like a little castle? They can help you there. We have things here. So, this is the teen space, and they found the space. They're enjoying the space. They're appreciating the space. Michelangelo Sosa, who is our teen liaison, said he had to leave for a small amount of time to attend to something. When he returned, the teens had cleaned up the games, they'd organized them, the furniture had been put back in place. Really mindful and respectful of it. He's saying he's having a hard time letting them know they can move the furniture. They can make it their own. But they really are enjoying the space. Studying. We did not have study rooms in Memorial before when we shut down. We now have 2 study spaces, and they are being well used. These particular folks wandered through the facility. I watched and observed for a little bit, came back to the circulation desk and asked if they could be reserved. They're not for reservation, it's first come, first serve, and there was something available for them. And they sat down and settled in and really got to use the space. They were kind enough to pretend that they were continuing to do their work, and they didn't know I was taking these photos, but they were very sweet. While they were in that space, over in the children's area, this family skipped through, came straight in, the children got their materials, sat in their circle, and began to enjoy. I didn't stage any of this. This all happened with that one small hour, that I was here, and Carrie Fiddler was very happy to say, go ahead and take a photo of them just enjoying the space. Next to that, this was happening in this room here. Obviously, it's an organization that is collaborating. Their goal said they're planning for the future, and that was happening in this space at the exact same time. Again, I did not plan this day. This day was just naturally happening, and I was very excited about that. This is what it felt like before we opened. This is our staff members in between who were sitting in the space, and we had communications, we had IT, we had digital services, we had public works, capital projects, staff from other locations, and this location here, of course administration, making sure that we were ready to go when those doors opened. And I just thought this was very telling of what it felt like when we were starting out right before we opened those doors.
We got those boxes back for Las Palmas.
Yes, we
right?
did. We also were able to use all of those boxes. We had a team. I was doing the same thing. We were flattening those boxes and we were reusing them, and they're going to be used again, and they were used for Las Palmas. And of course, all of that couldn't happen with, I think this is our last slide, which I think is one of my favorite, with that teamwork. That was right before we opened, and it's very rare in a 7-day operation to have an entire team in one place at the same time. And it takes a grand opening, actually, to do that. So they were all available, and Ramiro was kind enough to pose with them as well. On the left, you see Maria Gonzalez. She's our manager who is now in Corpus Christi enjoying her great-grandchildren. And, of course, Chrissy Duffendahl, our interim manager, who is making sure that we have a really, really nice space in place for the community. That is a snapshot of Memorial today. Thank you.
I believe you that those were not staged photos. I really do, because I mean, you can just tell that the space fits the community, you know, and that's not luck, right? It comes from having bigger ears than your mouth, right? I mean, we knew what they wanted. I mean, I said people are happy. Richard is an incredibly good representative of his community. He's very intentional with communicating up the feedback that he gets. And I don't need to tell you all that, do I? Right? And so my commendation to staff, library staff, and local branch staff here is, you know, thank you for listening, because that's why it's successful, right? And that's why the spaces are being used as intended. That's just fantastic. So congratulations. We're all very proud for your updated space. I went to school right across the street 35, almost 37 years ago, and so I would have probably found this place sooner had I seen the nice bright blue at the front, versus wondering, is that like a city, is that a water building, or is that a, they store documents? Anyway, great. Thank you very much on a great update. Were there any other comments? I didn't mean to.
I absolutely love the slide. It is very just exact of what we saw the day of, how everyone just explored, was just so grateful and thrilled. But all the details that Mr. Garcia had suggested, you know, like he said, like Mr. Stahl said, they were heard and placed. So, but thank you. Thank you all.
No, I appreciate it very much.
This is a wonderful space. Beautiful.
Great. Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to item number 16. Review and consider approval of the Encino Branch Library Building Dedication Plaque. It's an action item led by Kathy.
Yes, thank you. So we have 3 branch libraries that were in a little bit of a donut hole on getting building plaques. So you might ask yourself, how did that happen? We're not exactly sure. But we have 3 library buildings that don't have building plaques that, you know, honor the dedication of the building. So we want to rectify that. So we will be bringing to you in the future Petranco Branch Library and Schaefer Branch Library. But tonight we have for you Encino Branch Library, and I'll show you what this looks like on the next slide. Ooh, that's kind of small. But what this is it's a cast plaque that shows the information about the building, And the way the building plaques work is that it shows both the Library Board of Trustees and the City Council at the time the project began and at the time the project opened. So it's a lot of names on it, but it honors both. It also obviously gives the date the building was dedicated. It reflects the library director, who was the same at both times, Ramiro, and it gives some information at the bottom about some other key participants in the project. Next slide. So yeah, this gives a little bit bigger view of that information, just so you can take a look at that. And then at the bottom, it shows the city manager, the deputy city manager, the department director for public works, and then at the very bottom, there's one more person, sorry. Edward, if you can scroll down. The city architect, and then the architects for the project and who constructed the project. So we wanted to bring this forward to you tonight because we traditionally bring these dedication plaques to the board for approval before we install them. So this is an action item on your agenda.
So before we can talk about it, we have to make a motion. If we all agree we want to talk about it, so I'll take a motion.
Okay, this is Marcy. I move to approve the dedication plaque design for the Casino Branch Library.
Great. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second from Norma. Any questions or discussion? If you said this, I apologize. Material?
Actually, it'll look like cast bronze, but it's actually aluminum.
Okay.
And the reason for that is cost, quite frankly. It's a lot cheaper to do the cast aluminum with the finish.
And then the other two, would those be brought back to us?
They will,
Okay.
yeah. We need to do the mock-up of it and we take it to Facilities Committee first and then the board. Those next two we'll probably bring together.
Gotcha. So I guess, part of our approval is to make sure that y'all are happy with how it's laid out and looked, and Edward blew it up there for us a little bit so we could see it. So great. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay. Lindsay, if you could take us through, or Sydney, if you could take us through a vote, please.
Jean Brady,
Aye.
Joanne Harris,
Aye.
Josie Martinez,
Aye.
Andrea Sanchez Muniz is absent. Norma Montalvo,
Aye.
Fernanda Cardenas, aye. Jaspreet Kaur,
Aye.
Marcy Ince,
Aye. Aye.
Beth Graham,
Aye.
Judy Cruz,
Aye.
Paul Stahl.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Thank you, Kathy. We'll move on now to item number 18, since we're postponing item 17. Item 18 is establish a fiscal year 2024 budget, take appropriate action. This is an action item, led by Kathy, that's why she's still there.
Okay, so last month, you were very patient as we presented improvement needs for the budget process coming up for the library system. So we presented a number of different needs for the library system as we go into budget season and make these requests. This month, the board will go through an exercise to prioritize those needs so that staff can use that as the budget development process proceeds. Jean said last month it was the best budget presentation she's heard, so we're not going to mess that up by presenting anything tonight. We're going to leave that alone. However, of course, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. At your place in front of you, or for the board members who are participating remotely, it was emailed, are those slides from last month, just in case you want to take a look at those and refresh. So tonight we are suggesting two things. One is Ramiro would like to share some comments on his recommendations about priorities for the system based on these needs. And then the second step we'll do is a voting exercise. We'll give to each, you have in front of you 3 dots, 3 stickers that you can use to place on the pieces of paper behind you to reflect your priorities. And if you don't see dots in front of you, let us know and we'll get you some. And then for the folks who are remote, we have staff team members here. If you just tell us which items you'd like to vote for, we'll place those dots for you. And then we'll count those up, and that can show the board's priorities. You can use your 3 dots on one if you feel very strongly about one particular item, or you can vote for 3. You can do 2 on one item, 1 on another, any combination you want. Do not tear the dots. Linda and Aaron did that one year. Please do not tear the dots. With that, I'll turn it over to my boss so he can give you some comments.
Hi, thank you. First of all, I want to thank the library board for giving me an opportunity to articulate the director's budget priorities. As you participate in this exercise, I think it would be helpful for you to know that I feel that books and materials, we should continue to make that a priority. In last year's or this current year's budget, the city manager was kind enough to, recognize the need to increase our materials budget in order to allow the library to better respond to the demands from the community for not only print materials but also digital materials. So $1.5 million was added, but we're still behind aspirational libraries, and so that continues to be, from my perspective, a priority. Budget priority. And just the last one is outreach. I feel that outreach, we should continue to focus and invest in outreach activities and outreach efforts. And so those are the 2 items that I would highlight. But before I let you go through, before you proceed with the exercise, I do want to let you know that one of the things that it's not part of the program improvements, it's part of the internal process for capital improvements. I'm giving facilities a priority as it pertains to library systems, HVAC systems. Kathy and I have been working on an ask for that, and it's a different process from this one. But I wanted you to know that I will be advocating and requesting the city manager for a larger investment to allow us to replace certain building equipment systems, primarily HVAC systems. And that's it. Those are my comments. That's my feedback.
With that, I'll pause and see if anyone has any questions. And then what I might suggest is we have a team member who's going to take each of the remote board members' votes, and we'll go place the dots for them. And then we could start with the in-person board members if the board's okay with that. But does anyone have any questions or clarifications they need? Okay. So Marcy, remotely, Randall's going to place your 3 dots for you if you'd like to tell us which items you'd like to vote for. Is Marcy still on?
Yes.
Okay.
You're putting them on the spot. I thought they were going to text you.
If any of the remote members would like to just text their preferences, y'all can do that as well.
Okay.
If you'd like, whatever you'd like. We're not trying to. Seems like we're trying to call. I and the staff trying to call people out. We're not.
I apologize. I totally called you out, Marcy.
But we're certainly succeeding.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. Okay. So I tried to get in, I have to get a second device, but nothing there. We just go along with whatever the mayor wants.
Okay. So, the power. So Ramiro had indicated collection and outreach. Would you like us to put 2 dots on collection and 1 dot on outreach?
I'll text it to you. I mean,
Okay. We'll get the text.
Let me figure out how to do this.
Yep, you can come back to you.
Kathy, I sent you my choices.
Okay.
You just confirm that you received them.
I did receive them. Okay.
You received them on
I'll
your wrist.
put your dots.
And we're not necessarily having to do this in serial fashion, are we?
You don't, although I'm wondering about getting back here.
Oh,
But
yeah.
however you would like to do it. See, where's general programming?
Very end.
Forward.
Other end, yeah.
Very end, very end.
Okay.
Okay. What's the next step?
Let's see.
Are we getting enough to put it? Yes.
Yep, I guess we can just go forward as you want.
How about Jean?
I haven't seen Marcy's either.
Jean, do you want to text me and I'll give them to Jessica?
No, but which one?
Or you already did, or?
Ramiro, I just texted mine.
Okay.
Okay, and I do have Marcy's.
Got it, Jean.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
It was raining.
Nice. It seems to be able to rain.
If you're ready,
Maybe go. I don't want to be jumping in puddles. I don't
No?
want to be jumping in the puddles. You'll. Have you want to be done with this again for next year for 2024? If our board meeting schedule.
Starting with this year, which is October now.
You know, as long as it's more on. It's not 8. Yes.
So, remember the learner SAPL is not for new location, it's just for
But Kathy might have one specific.
question on the learner SAPL.
Enjoy the fiesta.
Have you submitted
Yes.
the only one?
I think they're just general.
Like water bag. Can I get more? Yeah. Can I get more?
And then last Palmer.
It's about the double team.
Sorry.
I
can take it.
You could put 2 on one. Are we done?
Okay. Let me get real with you. Did you hear at the last year's?
No.
I think I have it. Very classy.
Jessica,
Yes.
Really comfortable.
what do you mean by environmental
Can you
advertising?
No, no.
That means
It
that
has
it's
book.
out of the community,
Man, you might
like
even
by
want to hear
shelter,
this.
banners,
The book festival, medals volunteers.
Yeah, I was sorry.
It was very
I
nice.
need to get
Very
there.
colorful.
No,
Book.
it's okay.
Kind of like, you know how you would have a book that's like open.
Believe me, I worked
Should we
at
put them in
Friends
the
booth
order?
last year.
Kathy?
That would be great.
And you could
Don't
open.
tell me you could
You
open
could
it.
open them. And you know what it said on the inside? Read.
Yes. My kind of.
Can you believe that?
Yes.
No. I'm telling you the truth.
I still get that somewhere.
I read it and I
Yeah.
Of course, it was one of the most popular ones.
Oh.
That's the decision.
That
isn't
is
it?
big time Betsy.
Of course, it's the book festival, not the foundation.
Right?
We couldn't get away with that. We couldn't get away with that. I mean, because they're a little bit leaner, can be a little more edgy.
Yeah.
This is really good. Library friendly. That is very cool. Are we done?
I think we're done.
So everybody's participated, everybody's used all their, or used the dots that they want to use, and I'm assuming everyone used all their dots?
Yes.
Just confirmation that y'all got it from our remote
We did.
participants?
Yes.
Okay, so I might be, so this is an action item.
It is.
So now what we would need to do is to get a motion in a second to accept the direction.
Yes, and I can read off the ranking if
Okay.
you would like. Okay. With the most votes at 8 is collection of books and materials. So that's at the top slot in the ranking. And then tied for second with 7 votes each is outreach and awareness and general programming. Then in third place is children's services. In fourth place is digital inclusion. In fifth place is Learn at SAPL. And at sixth place is facilities operations and security. And then we do have some information to share. Jessica will share it in a minute about some next steps that have been proposed by the Committee for Public Relations and Advocacy. But if you'd like to do your motion and vote first on the budget priorities, however you would like to do it, Paul, or Jessica could share the information first, whichever you prefer.
Jessica, go and share the information.
Good evening. Working with the Budget Committee, the Library Board's Public Relations and Advocacy Committee met in anticipation of today's action to identify some tactics that the board could employ to garner support for the library stepping into goal setting on April 13th. It is just a couple weeks away. And so the idea is to share with council, who is the main audience of the goal setting, the information that you're going to vote on, which is essentially your priority order for library budget 2024, and just promote library. The goal is for the library to be noted as a service resource, as a department to invest funding in for 2024 budget as council considers goal setting, and that essentially initiates direction to the city manager in development of the draft budget. And so several tactics were discussed. One is to have the board chair send a letter to the city manager, send a letter to mayor and council with a copy to city manager articulating these priorities. The second, and I have for you today invitations to Central Library's grand reopening on April 1st. We thought you could personalize these invitations to your respective council member, and we would hand deliver them to mayor and council on your behalf, and that would get library on their mind, perhaps get them to the grand reopening, and just keep library top of mind. Additionally, the committee would like to activate the Friends and the Foundation with our postcard campaign, which you probably have seen from past years. It's a library postcard. It's actually a note card, and in the back it's just general lines for folks to write notes. The Friends meeting is this Sunday, so if the board concurs, this can be a tactic that Josie can work. I can work with Josie, who is the representative on the Friends, with the Friends, to hand these out at the Friends meeting and ask them to please write letter of support about the library, about these initiatives, and we will hand deliver these to mayor and council. And so these are just part of the tactics that we've discussed, and so as part of your action item is also endorsing some of these tactics to move forward for advocacy. And this is simply advocacy for goal setting. Once budget process continues, there will be other tactics that will be employed for the library system.
Great. I like the strategy, the strategy of this.
And I guess two quick things to share. So one is Andrea Sanchez couldn't be here tonight. So she did have a conversation with Jessica. I don't mean to talk on Jessica's behalf, but she was fine going with the will of the board. So just so you know, she just wasn't able to participate. And then the other part is that, for example, of course, you have a second place tie, outreach and awareness and general programming, public awareness and innovation. If it turns out like last year, the city process is for departments to submit 2 improvements. That's what happened to be the process last year. You could only submit 2. What I would suggest is we would just combine, outreach and awareness and general programming, public awareness, innovation. I think those could be easily combined if that happens. Now, if we can submit 3, we could submit those 3.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a motion? A motion to accept the feedback, recommended approach?
I'll make a motion that we accept and approve the budget priority recommendations for the fiscal year 2024.
Great, thank you. We have.
I'll take it.
Awesome. The remote guys are ganging up. I like it. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion or questions?
Does this also include the tactics that? This is okay, cool.
Does. Right? Do you read that it does?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay. Sydney, you want to conduct our roll call? Vote, please.
Jean Brady,
Aye.
Joanne Harris.
Aye.
Josie Martinez.
Aye.
Andrea Sanchez Muniz is absent. Norma Montalvo.
Aye.
Fernanda Cardenas.
Aye.
Jaspreet Kaur.
Aye.
Marcy Ince.
Aye.
Beth Graham.
Aye.
Judy Cruz.
Aye.
Paul Stahl.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. Good. So that conducts all of our business. Beth opened the door on something. I've had a few trustees ask me, so I feel like in my head I've got a minute and a half, 2 minutes here for 7:30. I would take this as a point of personal privilege again. At the Forest Hills opening, I found an opportunity. My parents moved from Dallas area down here to San Antonio just back in May, and so having my parents close has been great. And at the event, there was Rosie Castro was there talking about children activism, and this is the Cesar Chavez March is upon us this Saturday. We were also talking about dedicating the room that we were in at the branch was going to be dedicated to a local activist, nurse, and educator, Maria Fernandez. And the spirit moved me to make a comment, and I'm going to share that with you all today, just very briefly. So my mother had told me, I was born in San Francisco in 1967, and my mother had told me a few years back, and it never really set in on what really had happened. But my mother and father were involved in the Hispanic community, in unifying the Hispanic community in San Francisco in the mid-60s. And my mom tells me that one day a lady named Dolores Huerta came to them asking for their support because they'd been coordinating the Catholic churches, the Spanish-speaking Catholic churches in San Francisco. The first time that it had ever been done. And so Dolores comes and asks for their support for some gentleman named Cesar Chavez, who down in the valley is organizing the farm workers. And in order for them to determine whether they would support them, my mom and dad, who were dating at the time, and my mom and father, they were president and vice president of this organization, they went down to Delano, met with Cesar and his brother Richard, and decided we ought to support these guys, this group. They need our help. And my mother was a nurse. She was a public health nurse. And she was, I guess, deputized or voluntold by Cesar to be the nurse for the strike. I'm sorry, for the march that we're celebrating the 57th anniversary of, that just started about 4 or 5 days ago. Anyway, so I was just sharing that I thought it was very special to have someone in the audience, which was my 91-year-old mother, who had been Cesar's first aid nurse on the march. She bandaged his feet. She took care of his blisters, bandaged his feet. While she was doing that, he kept saying, "No, I'm fine. Please take care of the other marchers. Make sure they have water." She has lots of beautiful memories of that experience. She was only there, I believe, I say only. She did it, not the whole 300 plus miles. I think she did it for 10 days, maybe 11 days. She was also involved in the nurses' strike that was happening in San Francisco. She was kind of in charge of that, so she had split duties. Anyway, I thought that was kind of a nice time to share that. So that's what Beth was alluding to. And what's really special, apparently tomorrow morning, my mother and father are going to be recognized at City Council at 9 o'clock when that starts. They happen to live in District 8, so I think Manny Elias is going to read something and give them a little something. And God willing, I'm going to get them to the Cesar Chavez March on Saturday. They both say they can't walk the whole thing. I don't know how much they can walk at all, but we're going to get them on there because I didn't mention this, but my father also participated in the march. He came up on the weekends, and he did 2 weekends of that march. My mom told me just last night, because we were at there was a movie at Trinity called Song for Cesar. It was very, very cool. It's going to be out on PBS pretty soon. It was about all the musicians that were supporting the movement at the time. But my mom tells me, because we watched all this video footage of all these people, and by the time they get to Sacramento, there's 100,000 people. My mom's like, they don't have footage of the beginning. so she was there at the very start, and she said there's like 30 people, 40 people, like nothing, like hardly anybody. And then on the weekend is when more people came. It didn't get started on a Thursday. But here's the part that's really kind of cool, and I'll end with this. The Red Cross had actually, the farm workers had gotten access to a truck from the Red Cross to be kind of the first aid truck. Well, there was no one to drive it. So they said, well, Dora, my mom, Dora, you drive the truck. She goes, but I want to march. She goes, well, someone's got to drive the truck. So what she did was from the first day until 10 days, 2 weeks after they started, while she was there, she would drive the truck 2 or 3 blocks up ahead, park it, jump out, come back to the marchers, walk up to the truck, get in the truck, start it 2 or 3, 4 blocks up, come back. She marched, even though she did half of it, she marched it twice. And I just was very proud that I was able to kind of share that story with my mom being there. I've known this a few years, but they've been back in Dallas, so it was a special time. So I appreciate y'all letting me share that, and thanks, Beth, for reminding me of that.
Thanks for sharing.
It made me fun.
So with that, I will adjourn our meeting. So thank y'all very much. Very productive meeting. Appreciate everyone's attendance and attention to our items today. So everyone be safe going home. I just read.